Hello, I'm Mike and welcome to the workshop. And this week, well, we're going to have a bit of fun. Now, long-time viewers of the channel may recall when I made this, the laminated jointer's mallet from the Woodworking on the Budget series. This is a great first project. You don't need to know any fancy joinery, you just cut your angles with a saw, glue it all together, and you have a pocket for your handle to go in and out. See, the thing is, I prefer using one of these for chisels. This is a Carver's mallet. To make a Carver's mallet you need a lathe and a lot of experience, and it's just a bit more difficult. I wonder, could we find a way of making one of these, like one of these? Let's roll the intro! So before I even start here, I'm going to point out, this is, like I said at the very outside, just a bit of fun. This may end up being a complete disaster. But if you look at the lovely sapele and ash I have pulled out of my scrap pile, it's going to be a beautiful complete disaster. So here's the plan. We're going to take the basic methodology for making one of these, in that we're going to make the head in 3 pieces, creating our angles just by cutting pieces in. You can see I have it marked here, so I'm going to put a piece in here, a piece in here at these angles. The ash on the outside, sapele in the middle, ash on the outside. And then we'll make a handle. Now it needs to be a wider handle so you can grip it on all sides, out of a combination of ash and sapele. Put it all together, shape it, and see how it works. So the first thing to do here is I want to make up my handle. So all I'll do is I'll split this down the middle, glue it either side of this piece of ash, so we get that nice dark, light, dark, and on the top we'll have the opposite, so we'll have a nice clash. And we're waiting for that to dry. We'll work on our head. So the head of this is ridiculously stupid. You can see there I have my 2 lines of the angle I wanted. So I just a couple of degrees, I think it's 4 or 5. You don't even have to cut anything. All you need to do is sandwich a piece that's got to be the same thickness as your handle in there, matching that line. Do the same on the other side, glue them all up together. This is the exact same. You can do the exact same methodology for the Carver's mallet. The only difference is with the Carver's mallet, we're putting end grain out here, whereas I want to put side grain, so I want to put more weight in. That's how simple that is. Watch me do it. So you know the scrimp on the glue here, and it's coming up to the line I've marked in, which creates our tenon. Then we're just going to place that on top of it, work it in, make sure we get the glue there, right up to that line. So now that we have those glued in, lined up with those lines inside, we could just clamp those down and wait till tomorrow. We could, but like I said, this is fun, so let's get out the big guns. So I will be shaping this afterwards, and all I'm doing here is I'm just putting a tack in very much so inside where nothing will get caught in my tools, and I'm shaping it afterwards. This just holds them in place. You could also use a wooden plug or dowel for this. This is just the quickest way of doing it, really. And then I can put the closing part on top, and all the strength here is not from these nails, and I'll pull a towel, a baby wipe through that, or a moist towelette, depending on what you want to call it, to get the glue out. This is literally just to hold those in position on that line so I can clamp it. Again, I'm putting them in where I'm not going to be cutting later on, so I don't destroy my blades. So that's that held. So with that pinned in place, I just wipe off any excess glue and remove the excess material with the bandsaw. This is an old blade. You could do the same with a handsaw. This just helps line up that second face so we don't waste material and everything is square. Again here, use plenty of glue. The glue is what's going to hold this hammer together, and it's going to get a lot of use if it doesn't explode. And just make sure when you're doing anything like this, just get in there and clean out all that glue when it's wet. It's a lot easier. And while that's drying, then I just square up two faces on the handle and cut it to width. Now this just takes a little bit of thinking because you have to make two cuts, making sure that you not only end up with the correct width, but that you end up with the same amount of material on each side. But in the end, it actually turned out pretty cool. So now we have our handle size and our head of the clamps. Let's see how we got on. Yeah, that's just what I want. Tiny bit of resistance, but enough play that it'll slip in and out. So the next thing then is I'm going to cut the handle, and I've already marked it out here. Again, I'm going to just very quickly, the video in the description and up there, showing how to do this in more detail. This is just for fun. So let's jump to the bandsaw and cut this, get our angles right, and then we'd almost have a mallet. And with the handle cut to shape, we start the careful process of fitting. When you're doing work like this, remove about half of what you think needs to come off every time. That way you'll get the perfect fit, because with this, a very small difference in change in thickness can make a huge difference to the fit. All for this moment right here. Satisfying. Now, right now we could just use this as a massive F-off joiner's mallet. It's pretty impressive. But to make it a bit more comfortable, we'll round this handle. I'll show you an easy method for getting around top. Again, no lathes. So, let's do that. So, our handle here is way too long, so I've marked the end of my handle. I also marked all the way around here because we don't want to come up there with the fluting we're going to add. Trying to make sure we keep that nice and tight. So, do a little tippy tap. So to do this, we're just going to go old school. And before the internet tells me I'm using a spoke shape wrong, it's my spoke shape. I'll use it however I want. So what I'm doing here, as you can see in between these two lines, that's where my head ends, that's where I want my handle to end. I'm just creating a scoop. And I'm doing this at a 45-degree angle, so when I have this done I'll end up with 8 sides. And then I'll knock off the sides to the left, give me 16, and that way we'll eventually get to a round. So, I'm just going to go at this, and I'll come back to you when I've made some progress. So, there we have it. After about 20 quite fun minutes, we have this really nice, it's like round scoop, it just sits beautifully in the hand. So, let's start working on the head, because this, the balance is way off on this. So, just off camera there, I just took the excess off this, so it's a square. But now we have a problem. If you have a square, we want to make a round, big hole in the middle. The solution I came up with, I think, is quite elegant. Let me bring it down and show you. Now, normally what you do to get the center or something like this is you draw a diagonal from corner to corner, and where those two intersect, that's where the center of your circle is. But we have the obvious problem of a hole here. So what I've done is I've traced around this block on a piece of card. I've drawn in those diagonal lines. Now I'll be able to put my compass point on here, draw out the circle that I want to fit in, if the pencil will work, I can then cut that out, lay it on here, and where the diagonals I've drawn on this and the diagonals that are on this circle piece overline, that means we have a perfect circle in the center here, and I can trace around it. So I've drawn my diagonals in here in pen to make it a bit clearer. But what we're doing is we're positioning this disc that I've now cut out so that all four of those lines intersect like so, and that means then we'll have a perfect circle positioned exactly centered on this shape. Hopefully this will get you out of a hobble. I know it has me. The next step then, what I'm going to do is just mark a 45 where the diagonal and the circle interact, creating an octagon shape. What we'll do then is cut off these corners on the table saw, and then we'll be left with 8 corners, and then we'll plane the corner here that's formed, the corner here that's formed, just working our way down, increasing the faces until we end up with a perfect circle, or close enough to perfect. Now of course you can very easily just make this cut with a handsaw as well, but I have the table saw and it's a bit more fun. So, to the table saw. Fun it may be, but this is also wicked dangerous. If you're not confident using a table saw, don't do this. There's a lot of blade exposed. Your greatest times of danger are when you're not confident or you're overconfident in a tool. So always, always be careful of safety. I mean, now we really have a Carver's mallet shaped object. But, time for more planing. You can see pretty clearly here what I'm doing. So again, I'm just planing down to that diagonal line and then working away all those additional points down to my circle, and that way, by slowly and carefully working my way around, I end up with an almost perfect circle. So let's jump to the end when we have that almost perfect circle. Yeah, that's pretty cylindrical. You'd be surprised how close to a perfect cylinder you can get if you're patient with this method. So the last thing I want to do here is I just want to round over the top and the bottom, just for aesthetics. And then we'll give her a little bit of oil and test it and see if this was a waste of 2 evenings of my life. And now it's oil time, but it's not Danish oil time. For tools like this and for handles, I recommend using linseed oil, or this boiled linseed oil. You could use raw as well. I find the boiled linseed oil works well because it keeps out the moisture and also keeps the wood conditioned. So, assuming this doesn't explode when I go to test it in a few minutes, I'll give this a couple of coats over the next few weeks just to make sure that we keep that wood nice and conditioned. There used to be a saying on axe handles, I think it's you'd oil it once a day for a week, once a week for a month, once a month for a year, and then once a year after that. I don't have that kind of dedication, but I will probably put 5 or 6 coats on this over the next couple of weeks, assuming it doesn't blow apart. And who knows, this could be my mallet forever. So, let's get at it, shall we? So that's oiled up. I've left it a little while so I don't get oil over myself. So the only thing left is to try it out and see if it goes. So I have a piece of scrap oak here to cut a few dovetails in. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a nice wallop to tighten down my holdfast. Let's see how badly it dents it. I mean, a bit of mark in it, but not too bad. So we'll give her a go with the 3 types of chisels I use. So this will be my example for a wooden chisel. Well, it's not exploding. The job is meant to do. I should have a bit of fun here now with a wider plastic chisel, see what happens. Try a metal one. You know what? Screw it. Let's try a big metal one.
Okay, I think you get the point. I tried my absolute best to break this and had so much fun. And then at some point, I fell in love with this hammer.
So, that's this week's video. And I have to say I am pleasantly surprised. I love this thing. The weight is just right. It feels brilliant in my hand. And I mean, you cannot knock this. I mean, normally, you wouldn't just be hammering a 2-inch chisel into a piece of oak for fun. And it was! I mean, like, you can kind of see a little bit in the shine of the dents, but I mean, you're going to get dents in a mallet, and I mean, that's harder work than it's ever going to need. I was genuinely concerned, particularly when I was going this way against the wedge, that the handle would fly off and it hit me or the whole thing would disintegrate. But yeah, I think this is my new daily use mallet. And it just goes to show, sometimes if you have an odd idea, you should just swing for the fences, or you might make something awesome. So yeah, thank you for staying to the end of the video. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And absolutely do try this at home.